This video is for entertainment purposes only. The tools you'll need are a 5mm metric hex key, a 3mm metric hex key, a 3/8 inch torque wrench, an 8mm socket, a Phillips screwdriver, flathead screwdriver, and a utility knife. Important note, when putting the bolts and screws back on the bike, make sure to tighten according to Honda's torque specifications listed in the repair manual for the 2007-2008 Honda CBR600rr. Tip: make sure to put the bolts from each cowl into separate labeled baggies to help you keep track of what bolts to use and to help avoid losing any bolts. Okay, the first thing you want to do is lay out all of the fairing pieces on the ground so you have easy access to them. I like to start with the easiest part of the bike first, which is the seat cowl, and basically all you're going to do is attach the base plate, as you see here with my black seat cowl. You're going to have to transfer over the hardware now. You're going to have to attach the screw clips, and then you're going to screw in the Phillips screws, and then put the black rubber piece on top and attach the 3 Phillips screws. This is what it looks like fully assembled. Okay, next step, remove the seat. Just remove the 2 5mm hex bolts and just pull the seat up. Next, remove the rear cowl, removing the 4 5mm bolts. Now go ahead and remove the rear cowl by pulling up. Now install your new rear cowl on the bike. If you have an integrated turn signal like I do, just go ahead and wedge it in the back of the rear cowl, and then go ahead and install the rear cowl on the bike. Next, screw in the 4 5mm hex bolts. Now just go ahead and attach the seat cowl. Next, remove the left and right lower cowls as one unit. Remove the hex screws off the lower fairing on the right side of the bike. Note, 2009 through 2012 CBR600rr requires the additional step of removing the engine cover. We're going to have 4 screws on this side, 4 screws on the other side, and then we're going to drop the whole lower fairing as one unit down to make it much easier. Next, remove the screws from the left lower fairing on the other side. Tip: when you remove the hex screws, make note of the size of the screw and where it goes on the fairing and place them in a labeled Ziploc bag. That's the right lower fairing screws, and that is the left lower fairing screws. Take off the connected lower fairings as one unit. And you just want to go ahead and unhook this portion here, and the whole lower fairing will drop down, as you can see here. Now remove the right middle fairing. Remove the only hex screw on the middle fairing and remove the trim clips underneath the headlight. To remove the 3 trim clips located underneath the front fairing, just take a Phillips screwdriver and put the tip of the screwdriver in the middle of the pop pin there and just push in, and then you just take your fingers and pull it out. Here's what the trim clip looks like. Unhook the front portion of the middle fairing underneath the headlight near the nose of the bike. Take your left hand and grab in the middle of the fairing. Press your right hand fingers down on the top of the middle fairing and give it a push in a downward motion, and the middle fairing should come right off. Next, disconnect the turn signal connector. Next, repeat the same steps for the left side. Okay, next you'll need to remove the hardware from the old lower cowls and transfer them over to the new lower cowls. And there's 4 cowl nut settings. And I'm pointing out each one there for you. Normally you would remove the rear cowl nut setting, but I broke mine off when I first tried to take the fairings off when I first did an oil change on this bike. Just take a Phillips screwdriver and push out the cowl nut setting. It comes out really easy. Once you remove the 5 cowl nut settings, now it's time to transfer it over to the new lower fairings, and all you have to do is just basically put the cowl nut setting on the hole and just take a flathead screwdriver and push the edge into the hole until you get all of the sides in, and then just take your fingernail and go around the corners there to make sure all of it has gotten through. Repeat the process for the 3 other cowl nut settings. Now just remove the screw trim clip on the front of the lower fairing. Now connect the new lower left and right cowls. Start at the front of the lower cowls. Now install the screw trim clip in the front of the lower cowls that connects both left and right lower cowl. Now you're going to connect the new lower fairings together at the rear. All you have to do is just overlap the tabs and then place the cowl nut setting there and screw in the 5mm bolt. Now that you've assembled the lower cowls together, we're going to set this aside and proceed to the next step. Next, remove the turn signals from the middle cowls with an 8mm socket. The black pieces you see here connect both middle cowl A with middle cowl B. What you're going to do is replicate that with the new fairings. You're going to take, with your new fairings, middle cowl A with middle cowl B, and take the black pieces that are exactly like the ones on the fairing that you just took off. You're going to assemble that and connect both middle cowl A with middle cowl B with the new fairings. But you're going to have to transfer the screws over from the fairing that you just took off over to the new fairings. When you're done assembling the middle cowls together with the black pieces, go ahead and install the turn signals in the reverse order that you took it out of the old fairings. Repeat the same steps for the opposite middle cowls. Now that the middle cowls are assembled, set them aside and we'll go ahead and take off the tank cover. Now we're going to remove the tank cover and the 2 side covers. You're going to start off by removing the 2 5mm bolts. Next, you're going to remove the pop pin there. And then you're going to remove the screw pop pin there. Next, remove the 5mm center bolt. And then, of course, remove the same bolts on the other side and pop pins. Once you remove all the hardware, just go ahead and pull up on the tank cover and it should come right off. Remove the 3 cowl nut settings from the old tank cover and transplant them into the new tank cover, just like you did with the lower cowls. Okay, now you're going to put the right side and left side black pieces on the new tank cover, and the tabs will just fit into the grooves as you see there. And then you're going to transfer the screws from the old tank cover over to the new tank cover and just screw those in place to secure the right and left side cover. Okay, now go ahead and put the tank cover with the attached side covers back on the bike. And when you put it back on, you want to make sure that the rubber seal comes through the top around the gas cap. Okay, go ahead and screw in the bolts and pop pins, and make sure you don't over tighten the 2 bolts on both sides of the tank cover. Okay, now go ahead and put the seat back on and secure it with the 2 5mm bolts. Okay, next we're going to remove and replace the front fender. First off, you want to take the 8mm socket and remove the bolt there and set aside the brake line. Then you want to go ahead and remove the 5mm bolts there, securing the front fender. Okay, and repeat the same steps on the other side of the front fender. Okay, now that you removed all the bolts off the front fender, go ahead and remove the front fender. Now you're going to remove all the cowl nut settings and transplant them onto the new front fender, just like you did with the lower fairings and the tank cover. Also remove the brackets behind the cowl nut setting. Just use a flathead screwdriver and wedge it up. Okay, now you're also going to have to remove the brake line brackets, and they can be easily removed from the inside of the fender. Just take a flathead screwdriver and wedge them up and it should come right off. Okay, now go ahead and take all the cowl nut settings that you took off the old front fender and transplant them and put them onto the new front fender. And also you're going to have to put the brackets that go in the back of the cowl nut setting on both sides of the front fender, on the inside of the front fender. And also go ahead and put the brake line bracket on each side of the front fender. Okay, now go ahead and put on the front fender. Put the bolts in and tighten them according to torque specifications. Secure the brake lines on the brake line brackets and insert the nuts on the brackets and tighten them according to torque specifications. Okay, now remove the windscreen by removing the screws with the Phillips screwdriver. Again, you're going to have to remove all the cowl nut settings off of the old windscreen and transplant it onto the new windscreen. Okay, next disconnect the 2P connector that's connected to the little light on the upper cowl. Next, remove the left and right mirror by removing the two 5mm bolts on each side. Now go ahead and remove the upper cowl. It should come right off, no problem. If you want to remove and replace the front spoiler, all you have to do is remove the bolt, nut, and washer underneath both headlights and remove the front spoiler. However, I'm going to use the same front spoiler. Next, remove the little light in back of the upper cowl by removing the Phillips screws. Also, make sure to remove the screw trim clips. Also, remove the screw trim clips off the sides of the old upper cowl and go ahead and put them on the new upper cowl. Now go ahead and install the screw trim clips for the light, and then go ahead and install the light by screwing in the Phillips screws. Okay, now go ahead and take the 2P connector wire, snake it through the opening there so that you can reattach it to the harness. Next, install the windscreen on the upper cowl. All you need to do is just place the windscreen in back of the upper cowl and insert the screws and tighten them up. Tip: make sure the front spoiler clips into the upper cowl. Now install the left and right mirror by securing them with the two 5mm bolts on each side and tightening them according to torque specification. Next, we're going to install the headlight cover. Just line it up as you see there, insert the 3mm bolt and tighten it according to torque specification. Then you're going to line the headlight cover tab with the upper inner cowl tab, and you're going to take that screw pop pin there and push it through from the back side. Go ahead and repeat the process for the other side of the bike as well. Next, we're going to install the middle cowl on the bike, and I'm going to give you a tip that's going to make installation a whole lot easier. It's actually a tip that I learned from a mechanic at my local dealership that has installed many aftermarket fairing kits. And what this is going to allow you to do, it's going to allow you to install these middle cowls absolutely hassle-free. Okay, first off, I want to familiarize you with the tabs on the middle cowl. As you can see, I'm pointing the tabs out. You want to be very careful with these tabs. You do not want to break them off. There's an art form to putting this middle cowl on the bike without damaging the tabs. And those are the areas where you put the tabs into and they'll snap into place. First off, I want to show you the middle cowl from my former set of aftermarket fairings that were on my bike. As you can see, the portion that goes underneath the headlight, the tabs were scraped off and there's a small hole drilled in the bottom corner. Basically what this is going to allow us to do is put a zip tie through there and secure it to the front spoiler. And I'll tell you, you'll have absolutely no problems with any of the screw holes matching up, and it'll be even more secure than OEM fairings on a bike. Okay, the first step is we're going to go ahead and we're going to remove the tabs off the end of the middle cowl using a flathead screwdriver. Next, you want to take a Sharpie and mark a dot where you want to drill the hole. And you want to go ahead and drill the hole exactly where I put mine. Now you want to go ahead and drill a hole. Okay, next you want to drill a hole in the front spoiler in the exact location where I put mine. Okay, first off, you want to go ahead and bend the end of the zip tie. Then you want to go ahead and put it through the hole of the middle cowl. Okay, and then you want to take the end of the zip tie that's bent and put it through the top of the front spoiler and snake it through the hole, pull it out of the hole, and then latch it into the zip tie catcher and put it on just the first notch. Angle the middle cowl up and place the tabs into the tank cover slots and then push until you hear a snap. Okay, next you want to take the tabs at the front of the middle cowl and guide them into the headlight cover until it sits flush. Next, go ahead and fully tighten the zip tie and then cut off the excess. Next, insert the 3 pop pins underneath the front spoiler that connects the middle cowl to the front spoiler. 2 up top and 1 goes in the back. Now go ahead and insert and tighten the 3mm bolt that attaches the middle cowl to the bike. Next, repeat the same steps for the left side of the bike to install the left middle cowl. Okay, last but not least, we're going to go ahead and take the left and right lower cowl, which we assembled earlier as one unit because it's much easier to install. Go ahead and line up the holes and then go ahead and install all the bolts. Make sure you use the exact same bolts that you took out from the old lower cowls when you took them off the bike. And we're all finished. Check it out. Is the bike hot or what? Looks good. Now all I have to do is just go ahead and wash the fairings and apply a coating of my favorite wax and buff it out, which will protect the finish. And it'll be all nice and sparkly and shiny and clean and ready to hit the streets. Looking good. As you guys may know, I got these awesome and great looking and great quality fairings over at Easy Moto at their eBay store. So hey, go check them out. I'll include a link in this video and also in the info section. And I'll tell you, I am very, very pleased with the paint quality, the fitment, everything. Fantastic. Subscribe to my blog over at CycleCruza.com for tips and great deals. Also click like on my Facebook page for new updates, and that's facebook.com/CycleCruza1.